There's a woman out there who made a claim that men who do not commit SA and grape actually benefit from those men who do. It's called the patriarchy dividend. There's no science to support that. My video refuting that got 1,000 likes. Her video making that ridiculous statement got 100,000 likes. You want to talk about radicalizing men? This is what radicalizes men right here.
62 million men in the U.S. It's actually way more than that. I'm talking about the number of men in the U.S. committing sexual assault. And since you're all suddenly obsessed with the numbers, boy, do I have some numbers for you. Because this study shows that 32%, or just under 1/3 of college-aged men who were asked, admit they would rape a woman if they thought they could get away with it.
If you guys think that this lady stopped at 32%, sorry to disappoint you. Later, she shows research according to which, in her interpretation, 63.5% of men commit sexual assault. And as you know, appetite comes with eating, so she pretty much ends her video with a claim that 95.1% of men do it. 95.1%. At this point, might as well say 100%. But if you want to break down her claims, we need to approach them one step at a time. So let's concentrate on the first claim, that according to her interpretation of the study, 32%, or just under 1/3 of college-aged men who were asked, admit they would rape a woman if they thought they could get away with it. And I believe she makes this claim to show that this 32% is applicable to the whole US adult male population. The study that she bases her claim on is Denying Rape but Endorsing Forceful Intercourse, Exploring Differences Among Responders by Sarah Edwards, Catherine Bradshaw, and Verlyn Hintz, published in Violence and Gender in 2014. So yes, this is a legitimate, peer-reviewed psychology paper. The problem is that it is exploratory, small-scale, and very limited in generalizability. First, this study was not designed to measure how many men would commit rape. It was designed to test something different: how people respond when you change the wording of a question. When the word rape is used, most people say no. When the similar behavior is described without that label, more people say yes. Second, this is a hypothetical, consequence-free scenario. No legal risk, no social consequences. Completely self-reported. Now, to be clear, hypothetical questions are not useless. They can tell us how people think, what attitudes they have, but they are not exactly designed to measure real-world behavior. They can measure how people respond to extreme abstract questions. To understand why this plays a role, imagine you ask 10 of your friends an extremely hypothetical question: whether they would fight Conor McGregor, and 5 of your friends said, sure, I would kick his ass. You can't then go and seriously claim that your survey shows that 5 out of 10 adult men in America would kick Conor McGregor's ass. And third, the study was done on 86 college students. 86, Carl! That is tiny for making broad claims about men or society. To actually make such claims, you would usually need multiple studies with 1,000+ participants tested across different groups of people, not just one small group of students. So I hope you can now see why applying that 32% to the entire US male population just doesn't hold up. And I hope you guys now can understand better how some influencers manipulate and misinterpret studies to make ridiculous claims like more than 62 million men in the US are APE women sound based and factual. In my opinion, such practices are quite dangerous, and they actually hurt the very cause these influencers are supposedly trying to defend.
I made a video debunking the whole 62 million men thing recently, but the videos that are incorrect, scientifically incorrect, get 100x more views than my video debunking it. The problem is this: if I were to sit there and I were to say something that is dangerous and factually inaccurate, they put a note. Sometimes they put a user note, or they take my content down. This depends on what platform. You're going to get a user note if it's on X. If it's on Instagram, your whole platform taken down, your whole account taken down. When these unscientific claims come out about men, I'm telling you, there's still right now, while we're speaking, thousands of videos saying that 62 million men joined an RAPE academy. And it's not true. And no one does anything. It's so maddening to me. And so here's the problem. When you do this and you lie about stuff like this, you belittle the people who are actually victims. Getting the numbers correct, there was 900 guys in a Telegram group. That's actually what the story was about. Does not belittle the victims. It actually clarifies the pain that they went through. And so exaggerating, what I'm going to say is I'm going to exaggerate the number of men willing to commit SA so that I can get more clicks on TikTok. That is sociopathic. I'm sorry. This woman, her saying 95% of men are rapists. Are you kidding me? Why is this account still around? Why does that video not get taken down? And the reason why is because it's a massive double standard. If you guys want to go check right now, right while we're talking, even today, go on Apple Podcast and you can subscribe to a podcast called Kill All Men. Yes, you can. You can subscribe to it right now. Now, I'm not even going to say the opposite name. Kill all, I'm not going to say the opposite gender because I would lose my YouTube. I would lose my YouTube. I would lose my Instagram for even saying that name. And it's still up right now. And you guys, if you guys go on my Instagram, you guys can see I just put out a video explaining there's this one-to-one correlation. The more exposure that women have to social media, the more they hate men. I'm sorry. When you see this crap, I don't understand how you can come up with any other hypothesis. By the way, men, 72% of men under 30 have a positive view of women. Only 7% of men have a negative view of women. Under the age of 25, 35% of women have a positive view of men. 21% of women have an extremely negative view of men.
Are you talking about America now?
This was actually a British study.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a British study that did this. But I just want to bring that up. If you want to talk about the radicalization of men, just watch Call Her Daddy, listen to women basically say the exact same things that we're saying, and then just listen to these unscientific claims, hundreds of thousands and millions of views. Again, I'm going to say this one more time. There's a woman out there who made a claim that men who do not commit SA and grape actually benefit from those men who do. It's called the patriarchy dividend. There's no science to support that. My video refuting that got 1,000 likes. Her video making that ridiculous statement got 100,000 likes.
We're just going to have to get Alex Cooper to do your video on her. She'll be all novel, and then you'll get the message out because nobody else will listen to it.
I mean, I'm at this point, I think Alex Cooper just has an intern who copies what we say and then asks questions on her show.
I was going to ask, where are they getting these stats from?
It's
very large.
It's a number of, so the first study that showed that 32% of men, by the way, when those same men were asked the actual word RAPE, they all said no. They asked the same question in a different context, and 32% of them said yes. They were kind of tricked into it by words. And by the way, this is all hypothetical. It's not to say that there isn't an issue there, but that doesn't make those men that doesn't make those men grapists because they answered the question that way. She's extrapolated 86 college students to mean all the 1/3 of the American male population. Utter and complete nonsense. I don't know how she got to 95%. I have a little too much intellect to actually watch her video in full, so I don't know how she got to that number. But I just think, that's the whole thing. But it wasn't just her. There's other people who have made these just ridiculous claims about 1/3 of the American male population are rapists. It's just unbelievable.
We all know. We just take it with a grain of salt. I just move on.
I mean, I wish it was like that, but I do think is having an effect on women. Do either of you guys think 95% of men are grapists?
I would not say grapists. I would say there's a huge CNC culture, consent, non-consent, right? That's kind of like, no, I think that CNC is like a really big culture right now, but that is far from SA in general. I think that anyone can really understand that, but it is really unfortunate when people go online and they actually belittle what true survivors have been through. It's actually funny. I saw a video recently talking about a contraption that was actually a patent that's coming back around, and it goes like inside the female, and it's supposed to be if there's some sort of like forced entry that it like clamps down on that tissue. And so basically the person that was discussing this on their TikTok was saying, oh my goodness, wow, well guys, if you don't want your clapped, maybe we should keep each other accountable. Come on, men, like keep each other accountable. The fact that women have to resort to this is crazy, that they would put this in their body. This would come back around. And at first I thought it wasn't legitimate, but I did a little research and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually a patented contraption to go inside of another human being. Like that's crazy. But she was bringing it up in a way where I think it's funny that all of these videos, not funny, but ironic that they would all start surfacing at the same time. I don't really think that is coincidental. But I don't think it's nearly as big of an issue as 95%. And that comes from someone having experienced and been around that her entire life. Yeah.
But I do think it is having an effect on women. I really do think. Okay, let me ask the three of you guys a question. Really? In the last 35 years, the amount of RAPE and sexual assault in the last 35 years, has it gone up or down, stayed the same? What do you think? Puma?
Gone up.
It's gone up? What do you think?
I would say the same. Gone up.
Gone up? What do you think, Harper?
I would say that it's gone up, but also keep in mind who would have reported years ago. Think about it. It's become more of a open culture and people trying to encourage
people encouraging others to
people that have stayed quiet in the past, I believe now have a platform to come forward more confidently. So it's kind of hard to say, has it gone up? But I would say yes in general. But I think also domestic violence in general and like the mental and verbal abuse is something that's even more prevalent than SA.
It's gone down 58%. We are currently at the point of the lowest amount of SA and grape in recorded human history, and the same thing for domestic violence. It has never been this low. There's no data that reports anything other than that. 58% decline. The reason you believe what you believe is because of what you see on social media. I'm not saying it isn't a problem. It's still a massive problem. I think it's 12 out of every 100,000 people. I can't remember what the number is right now, but the idea that it's gone up is preposterous. Since 1991, we were in the middle of the crack epidemic. That was the high point, I believe, over the last 50 years. And then it's dropped 58% since then.
Wait, so you're talking about America again? I'm going to Google this number.
Yeah, go ahead. For sure.
I'm curious. Yeah, do you think that there's like more, I hate to use
Sweden's
the
going to have
phrase
extremely low
crime
numbers because you guys don't have mass immigration. Go ahead.
But at the same time, do you think there's some false accusations out there? Because if I were to sit into a room and look at everyone around, how many people know someone affected by SA? Either personally or a friend or a family member? Yeah. So the fact that I could sit into a room and almost every single person could raise a hand to that,
for sure,
it's a little concerning. Either
right, but I'm saying, but here's the other part of it, right? When it comes to statistics, the probability of you dying by getting killed by a drunk driver is less than 1%. But my father was killed by a drunk driver 20 years ago, so that stat doesn't mean anything to me. If you're actually a victim of SA, then and I tell you that it's gone down 58%, you still have the right to feel unsafe. I'm not saying you don't. My question is, why do you feel more unsafe when the world is actually more safe by every possible metric? And the answer is swipe.
But it's the same thing with like starvation and people being poor.
But also 30 years ago, females felt like they didn't have a voice or a platform or a say. They felt
that would actually cause them to report more SA now than back then.
Now,
you're actually you're proving my point.
You're right. The stat today versus the stat over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, we can't track a real stat.
It's more likely that women wouldn't have reported it 35 years ago than today. It's more likely. And the number was still 58% higher.
So we don't know the real number back then.
Well, it was probably higher than whatever it is now, and the drop was even greater. But like, there's multiple data sets show that it's been a massive drop in the amount that's happening. Yet, whenever we ask women, they always say the numbers have gone up, but they haven't gone up. Why do you believe that? A lot of women are like,
maybe because more awareness.
In Sweden, they have.
I think more awareness.
I got to look at the last 35 years, the amount of SA has gone up in Sweden.
I think it's also important to distinguish the fact that a lot of women resonate with SA, meaning something that is horrifically violent, and not all SA comes out to be that sort of circumstance, right? Not everyone experiences something that is completely violent and just a big news story, basically, right? Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I said no and I didn't fully disengage from this, but this was not a welcomed environment and it happened. And so women then feel embarrassed, like, oh, or maybe they're in a line of work where they felt like it was acceptable, but not something they were comfortable with, and they don't know how to discuss it. Bottom line, I think, especially now with everything that has come about between AI and different online social media platforms, communication is key. Always knowing, your partner and what you guys are both comfortable with.